As the years go by, new facets of the voice are revealed to us. From the physiological aspect, by macroscopic observation of the vocal cords and their environment, to the cellular infrastructure and the interpretation of the biochemical mechanisms that come into play during speech and singing. The ample movements of dancers call for perfect harmony of action and muscles, gestures and respiration. No mean sportsmen themselves, the professionals of voice production also bring into play numerous anatomical structures to produce effective tirades or harmonious tones. Participating in voice production in the windpipe are the pulmonary air, whose pressure governs the intensity of the sound and causes the vocal cords to vibrate. Their tonicity influences the timbre of the voice. On the other hand, the arytenoids control the joining of the vocal cords. The voice is modulated by the epiglottis, the soft palate and its mobility, the base of the tongue and its movements, the lowering angle of the jaw, the larynx going up and down, and the position of the lips. These all modify the resonance cavities that are the pharynx, the mouth, and the nasal fossa. When the soft palate lowers, it causes the nasal and pharyngeal fossa to communicate. These many elements, making up the complex structure of the vocal tract, contribute to voice production brought about by vibration, modulation, and resonance. Digitized subtraction by computer of a kinetic X-ray picture of the vocal tract, direct observation of the vocal cords, is possible thanks to dynamic vocal exploration by fibroscopy. Dynamic vocal exploration enables direct observation of the vocal cords during speech and singing. The fibroscope is introduced into the nasal fossa down to the roof of the larynx. Preparation of a singer is like that of a sportsman. He must warm up his vocal cords to sing properly. The stroboscopic effect, utilizing an intermittent light entering into phase with the frequency of the sound emitted, enables analysis of vocal cord vibrations. In this case, the airflow, the suppleness of the chordal mucous membrane, and the tension of the vocalis muscle are indissociable. The laryngeal muscles are striated muscles, not quite like the others. The histological aspect of the vocal muscles changes considerably with age. In the newborn, the muscular fibers are very thin and hardly developed. At 27, the muscular fibers are completely developed, and with age, here at 61, they begin atrophying. These documents, taken by Hirano in Tokyo, reveal vocal aging, which could be called presbyphony. The laryngeal muscles have a special ultrastructure here explored under the electron microscope by Malmgren in New York. It's a regular energy motor marked by stria that are twice as thick as the others and a large concentration of mitochondria. These mitochondria and the lipid inclusions have a diameter 6 times larger than in the other striated muscles. Training in endurance increases the number and size of the mitochondria per unit of muscular weight. Their extremely rich enzymatic content explains the great amount of energy that it is possible to dispense. The liquid matrix of the mitochondrion contains DNA molecules in suspension in the shape of long circular filaments. These DNA molecules participate in protein synthesis. The distribution of particles in the molecules on the external face of the mitochondrion accelerates, and their arrangement changes when the cell passes from a period of rest to one of activity. On the internal face, the arrangement is different. The overload of these membrane exchanges takes place at the expense of the DNA when there is hyperactivity, effort, or a performance by the fantastic powerhouse represented by the mitochondrion. This is one of the reasons which might explain the efficiency of the exogenous DNA supply in therapeutics of voice fatigue and tendency to fatigue. The energy and vocal power at the extreme limits of the register of the human voice call for training enabling the necessary performance. In a poorly conducted effort or insufficient muscular power in the vascular context, we observe, for example, this microvarix perfectly visible under the stroboscope on the pearl-white chordal mucous membrane.
Bien. Faites un ou maintenant, s'il vous plaît.
Stroboscopic dynamic vocal exploration offers 3 advantages: that of a dynamic examination, of stroboscopic examination, and that of high magnification chordal wave visualization. The speed of the chordal wave is 0.5 meter to 1 meter per second. The higher the frequency, the lesser the amplitude of the wave. The higher the power, the greater the airflow and the more ample the mucus wave. Note the perfectly symmetrical vibrations. Sometimes the traumatic effort triggers a submucous chordal hemorrhage, visible here in the throat of this coloratura soprano. The video recording of the preceding examination recalls that there was a total hemorrhage. Observation here, at the right of the screen, of a vocal effort will little by little bring out a global vascular turgescence of the vocal cord.
Plat.
Le plat est ouvert.
Comme moi.
Dynamic stroboscopic examination is perturbed by the coming into play of the omolateral false vocal cords, absorbing a certain quantity of vibratory energy. The electrolaryngogram is of capital importance, but notes a double vibration in this case, both chordal and ventricular, represented by a double peak. The muscular power called for by such an effort is rapidly spent because of lack of training. Veritable asphyxia of the chordal muscle ensues. The performance of the laryngeal unit is evident in this case. There is, however, keratosis in the shape of a regular horn. This keratosis is the result of repeated microtraumatism of the free edges of the vocal cords. The very important role of the epiglottis is evident in this flamenco singer. This voluminous obstructive hemorrhagic polyp suspended to the vocal cord causes decreased general oxygenation and a disequilibrium of the chordal mass.
Soufflez fort. Respirez. Soufflez. Je vous demandais, vous fumez combien?
How many cigarettes do you smoke every day? Or a package?
Et dans votre métier, madame, est-ce que votre
And
voix est-
in your job, do you have to talk a lot? Oh yes, constantly.
Vous parlez combien d'heures par jour à peu près?
Oh, je parle beaucoup, puis je parle entre chez moi.
The successive video laryngographic recordings constitute a veritable health chart of the voice, retracing the clinical history.
Que cette hémorragie a eu lieu maintenant?
6 mois.
Il y a 6 mois. Et votre voix à l'époque était comment?
6 months ago, how was your voice?
Complètement cassée.
It was broken.
Bien. Refaites un infrasalon. Alors madame, ici il y a combien de temps après?
1 mois après.
C'était 1 mois après. Et la voix était toujours...
A month afterwards, the voice was still
Au moins
broken,
que l'hémorragie a disparu.
but the
Et
hemorrhage
il nous
disappeared.
reste un
And there's
aspect
just
de polype.
a little polyp left.
Nous voyons là que l'hémorragie a totalement disparu.
It has totally
Elle fait
disappeared.
place à un petit polype
Just a
hémorragique.
little
Ça, c'est
polyp
sur le
left.
bord libre.
The nodules of voice professionals, which have persisted after over a year of medical and voice therapy, call for microsurgery, here by laser. Under general anesthetic, the patient is intubated, the laryngoscope is in place, the subglottal space is protected by green gauze. At a power of 9 watts, the laser is fired in 0.2 of a second bursts, with precision down to 1/10 of a millimeter.
Alors, 9 watts toujours. Ah, vous la prenez 1 watt de moins parce que c'est très superficiel.
The lesions are vaporized with total recovery of the vocal cord profile.
Bien, dans votre profession, vous avez à peu près la même voix. D'ailleurs, vous
In your
vous en
profession, you have about the same voice. Yes, we have the same voice.
Votre empreinte vocale est pratiquement identique.
Your
Qui est-
imprint must be practically identical.
Votre empreinte des cordes vocales.
J'ai un jumeau, il a la même voix que moi. Il a la même voix que moi.
When listening to these twins, we wonder if the vocal imprint, giving each one of us his personal originality, is acquired or innate.
J'ai un frère jumeau, il a la même voix.
C'est bon ça, allez, vas-y. Bon. Allez. Vous voyez? Ah, c'est extraordinaire. Alors maintenant, bouche fermée, tu sais le faire ça aussi.
During a medico-lyrical course, Jacques Mars, lyric bass at the Paris Opera, reveals a few technical aspects of vocal production.
Voilà, encore.
Je continue la résonance.
Oui, vas-y, c'est ça.
Avec percussion ou sans percussion?
I continue with or without percussions, with percussions.
Vous voyez, il se sert de ses arytenoïdes et de ses cordes vocales et de l'épiglotte comme du
He's
glace.
using his arytenoid cartilages, his vocal cords and epiglottis like a lip.
Vous voyez, on voit très bien là. Hein.
Look at the vocal cords.
Regardez, maintenant siffle.
Whistle now.
La différence quand
See the difference when he whistles?
Plus aigu?
Sharper,
c'est plus grave.
now lower.
D'accord.
As for any champion, the vocal performance, a muscular performance, although without risk, demands training and surveillance. For vocal creation has but 2 strings or chords to its bow. If one of these chords weakens or is injured, it throws off the whole phonation process.
Vous voyez, la courbe est belle, il compense là. Vous voyez, les cordes vocales bien blanches pourtant. Hein. Respirez.
Jean-Michel.
We all run the risk of vocal fatigue, calling for prompt and thorough treatment.
Jacques, tu peux lui faire quelques mouvements s'il te plaît?
On peut le faire attaquer sur des...
Put him through a few movements.
Vous savez comme le... C'est le Purcell, je crois, hein, quelque chose comme ça, non? Comment ça casse les cordes, hein, sur la...
On peut y aller, vas-y là.
Et automatiquement, c'est ça ne joint pas. C'est pas joint.
Automatically, no coming together. They can't join.
C'est de faire un mouvement de langue d'avant en arrière et de bailler.
Right away, I said moving the tongue from front to back and yawn energetically, like a cat yawns.
Qui part en gothique,
Your soft palate retracts, and you can warm your voice without making a sound. You can also hum a lot,
de bouche fermée,
legato or in percussion.
Ça, tout le monde sait ça, ben, on va avoir l'impression de mettre une balle de ping-pong dans la bouche. Après
You have the
pouvoir
impression of
refaire.
having a ping-pong ball in your mouth and closing your lips over it,
En legato ou en percussion.
legato or percussion.
Qui détermine justement le côté
Determining the joining edges of the chords, the clean edge. enabling you to emit clear vowels without air leakage.
À mettre le H avant le A.
Sometimes interpretation calls for H before the A instead of afterwards.
Ça va être du genre.
If it's a distressed A, obviously it's going to come out ha.
Ça va être ah. Il est attaqué net. Mais les bouches.
L'échauffement musculaire.
What about warming the muscles?
Par exemple, ce qui est important, c'est de faire.
What's important
les cavités
is to have the
constituées à-
facial cavities resound.
célèbre avec lequel j'ai beaucoup chanté.
And to mention a famous singing partner I had called Djaroff,
Sans ajouter la-
without articulation,
il se contentait de faire
he just
bourdonner
filled his
ses-
resonance chambers,
sa face. Par exemple, c'était dans
his
Don
cavities.
Carlos.
For instance, in Don Carlos,
Au lieu de chanter en coulisses,
instead of saying,
of
singing
il était là en chantant piano, mais
backstage, he stood there singing softly, but high in the resonant facial cavities. We observe here the capital importance of the supraglottic resonance chamber, like a cathedral.
En quelque sorte, il réveillait ses sensibilités internes.
Greater interdisciplinary knowledge of the vocal power plant, each with its own personality, but all operating on like principles of drive and energy, will perhaps someday enable us to better utilize the boundless resources of the human voice.
Sorelle, sorelle, io voglio rivelarvi che uno spero di sole entrata in clausura. Guardate dove batte la fra l'apertura, il sole sulla coro. Cominciam le 3 sere della fontana d'oro. Vont tous les oiseaux rebelles, on traque jusqu'au fond du ciel désert. Les tambours de la guerre résonnent sur des routes qui ne vont nulle part. It's a long, long, long way. Qu'il est loin ton Eldorado. It's a long